Thanks for clicking the link.
Right on, welcome back. Wanted to take a minute and update you guys on our van. We've had this 50,000 miles now. And Kelly, your number one impression about this van, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
The maintenance.
We've had a lot of costs that I'll go over later in the video that were very unexpected, and they do add up.
If you're looking to buy a ProMaster, we suggest that you look into the extended warranty.
I just only have the factory 336 and then the 560 on the powertrain, which is almost up. I'm in the car business.
Yeah.
We've owned a lot of cars. I've leased a lot of cars. After years and years of the car business and all the different vehicles I've owned, I gotta admit, this has been one that has been a little bit of a labor of love, but I love it. Our van's got power, Kelly. We got power. Woo! So my last trip, I really had some challenges with charging and keeping up with my GoPros and my drones. So the new power is right here. So here is the new power right here. The EcoFlow. I'm gonna be able to charge it right here in the 12-volt power. I'm definitely planning on doing some reviews and getting you guys some good information about this EcoFlow power, really putting it to the test. But it's gonna be awesome to have power on the road. There's been quite a bit of factory recalls on this guy. Right now, I'm gonna take it in and get an oil consumption recall thing addressed. Really hard shifts, especially like the first to second. Feels like a cold shift. Feels like it's 20 below zero when it's like this outside. And that I'm very, very concerned about those hard shifts. Anytime I've ever had it in for recall, I've had it reflashed or reprogrammed, and there have been several reflash, reprogram recalls for those shifts and those hard shifts. It'll drive fine for, say, the first week or so, and then it goes back to just hard shifts again. So I just had it in. I had to replace a front CV joint, so I had them reflash it again last week, and it's just started shifting hard again, actually today. The fit and finish on the van has definitely been a concern. There's been some things like, for example, just little things falling off. I somehow lost the piece that stops this door. There's a catch that would catch it right here. I don't know when, I don't know where, I don't know how. Maybe loading something in and out, a bike or surfboard. More than likely it was loading something, but I snapped that out, and so now my door's just free swinging here, so that's nice. I think I've got one here I've been saving. So yeah, I kept it under here, so if anybody knows what this is and where it goes on my van, please comment in the section below. I'll put it right back here where it's stayed. They have a really weird lock system on this van. And to show you guys what I was talking about in terms of these door locks, check this out. So now both sides are locked, and if a dog steps up over there, right, Bisbee? That could happen. Oh, buddy. So heads up on that one. Careful with your dogs in the ProMaster City with these locks. Make sure you leave the window down. That's key. And shove your windows down on your dogs in your car anyway. That's definitely heads up on that one. This does have a lot of road noise, and the engine noise is definitely strong. Fuel economy, I can't really complain because sometimes it gets surprisingly good fuel economy, especially for all the wind drags I put up here and the fact that it is just a big giant shoebox going on the road. So it has the aerodynamics of a brick. What can you expect? This trip timer I reset before my last trip to Bend. So this includes Bend and back, which I did burn some ethanol-free fuel, but since I've been back, I've been burning ethanol blends and just driving around town. So take a look. All right, so overall, average economy, and then my average speed, and then travel time. The seatbelt buzzer in the Ram van is definitely going to prompt you to get your belt on right away. Backup camera. So this backup camera, I'll make some video of it. But yeah, the backup camera worked fine for during the 336. And now it's gotten like 70% of the time, it's just a glittery screen, which I'll take some video of for you later. All right, so now you can see the backup camera issue I'm having. That's no bueno. I want to take a minute and thank you for supporting this channel. Just by watching this video, you support this channel. One of the things I've always wanted to have for the van was the ability to run a small electric heater, because some nights it just gets so cold. In certain campgrounds, idling your engine just isn't an option. After much research, I decided to add an Eco-River 600 power system. This is basically a solar generator. 600 watts, 1200 watts surge, right? Weighs in at less than 11 pounds. Check this out. I've got quick charging USBs. We've got a USB-C for 100 watts, 2 USB-As, a fast charger right here. I got DC power, right? And then on the side, I've got 600 watts of AC power. Now, my plan is, I've done some research on a couple different small heaters, most of them 250 watt range, that will work with these, that I may be able to get a few hours of heat out in the middle of the night. So it could help just take the chill off in the van perfectly at night. The EcoFlow River 600 can be charged with its solar panels in right around 3 hours on a good sunny day. But that's not how we're going to use it. From home, we'll charge it up with its AC input right here in the wall. Then, once we're on the road, I'll be able to use its 12-volt charger to keep it topped off for my needs. I realized on my Moab trip that the USB connectors in my van just didn't cut it. Now, here's the part you've all been waiting for. I'm gonna take a minute and talk about the unexpected costs along with the maintenance I've had on this. The maintenance on the Ram van is pretty typical for most new vehicles nowadays. They're running a synthetic blend, so you change the oil every 5,000 to 7,000 miles. Also works out great for tire rotations because you can do that at the same time. In addition to oil changes and tire rotations like every car has, let's talk about the other stuff. Okay, one of the things I talked about when we were at the park was the transmission shift issues. So I've got form after form after form of time after time. It's been well over 3 times that I've taken this van in for these shift concerns. And they continually reflash it. There's even been some recalls addressing shift concerns, which was a reflash, but after a week or so, it's back to shifting hard again. I would describe the shift problem as a very, very hard shift. It feels like a cold shift. I lived in Alaska for many years, so I've driven lots of frozen cars. Sometimes at 40 below, things will shift hard. And that's what it feels like even when it's 100 degrees outside. Believe it or not, this isn't all my paperwork. I was actually missing some. So I had to contact the Ram store. The most recent repair we had was just last week, where they replaced, I believe it was the driver's side CV joint. It was a problem that they couldn't duplicate upon 3 different times that I brought it in. At first, it was only a noticeable shudder under acceleration. Then it began to do it at all times, feeling like a wheel was out of balance until you lifted your foot out of the throttle. What it turned out to be was a CV joint. Now they only replaced one. Luckily it was covered under warranty, so I don't have the exact costs on it, but I did ask the service advisor, got a peek, the parts alone were over $600. Okay, so while we were addressing this, like I mentioned before, the first time I went into the store, they couldn't duplicate the problem. Per manufacturer suggested maintenance, most spark plugs are changed out on most vehicles right around 90 to 100,000 miles. Now, the guys at the Ram store told me that there's a new boot cover for the coils and that I should replace the spark plugs, and that could have very well been the problem that was actually my CV joint. Now, here's the thing, only 50,000 miles. And the fact that it was a new part number for the boot number. So obviously this is another known issue. And when I asked about it becoming a recall, who knows? But that sounds like this should be a recall too, and everybody should have this replaced. I am a car guy. I've been in the car business for over 25 years. I'm currently working, you'll see some of this paperwork here, has my current place of employment. At my job, I'm able to save a little bit of money because I can get an internal rate as an employee. So I got the parts numbers, and I had our shop order new plugs and the new improved coil boots and install them, and it didn't fix the problem. So driving around town, it seemed fine, especially low speeds. unnoticeable. So I thought everything was fine, problem fixed. I get on the road to Bend and boom, there it is again. So when I got back from that trip, I brought it back again. This time they were able to duplicate the problem. The mechanic determined that it was that CV joint. Still, that repair for the plugs and the coil boots internal at my own killer deal of a rate was still $171. The factory tires that came on the Ram ProMaster City were pretty much garbage. I wasn't going to replace them though till I burned through them. Tire wear is definitely a relative subject depending on driving habits and conditions and all these sort of things that can affect tire wear. But the average new tire today has an amazing tread life on it, especially a quality tire. I swapped these out to these Toyos and really liked it. It was worth every penny. The fact that it has a Fiat-based DNA definitely shows in these sort of things. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is not only a problem with the ProMasters, but it's affected many of the Jeep products throughout the Jeep line. And that is the heater blower motors. Mine lasted exactly 47,000 miles and boom, stopped. It whistled and hummed and made all kinds of noises for a while. Once in a while, it got to where I did the Fonzie factor. I could smack the dash and it would come on, and then eventually it just went. 409. Again, I got hooked up because of where I work, but for most people that repair probably would have been closer to 6. The battery, well, you know, batteries go, and you can't expect much on that. But I did replace the battery at 44,000 miles. So that was another recent repair. So it seems like right after the comprehensive warranty is when all these repairs came out. So there again, if you're considering a new Ram purchase, definitely take a good hard look at the extended service contract, because this alone would have paid for a warranty. I've had some alignment issues, a lot of issues with wheel weights not sticking on the wheels. Now, I don't know if this is a case of people not cleaning the inside of the wheel off when they stick the weight correctly, or whether this is a problem with other Ram vans. So if any of you have had issues with your wheel weights coming off consistently, like all 4 wheels going in for alignment. Some of these are alignments and me checking it out, thinking things are out of whack when it turned out, no, it was just wheel weights. One time there was all 4 wheels had spun off wheel weights. I just have the cheap steel wheels, so maybe it's just the cheap steel that they used for the steel wheel I have. Maybe people with the alloy wheels may not have this problem. Another thing I'll go outside and get a shot of is the wear on the hubcaps around my wheel, more than likely from the drive-through car wash that I go to. Here we have lots of car wash options with really affordable monthly subscription rates, and you can drive through as much as you want. So you put a sticker in your windshield and you just drive. The one I'm a member of has 7 different locations. So repeatedly, that was another thing, is finding a place to wash this and finding a car wash that you can run your ProMaster through. When I first got my van, I was doing a lot of hand washing. But then once we moved to Boise, I found out there's some car washes here that have the clearance for lifted trucks and such that give me just enough room to squeak through with my racks and things. One time my Thule Aeroblade, which by the way, I didn't include a link for the Thule Aeroblade in my last video. If you're putting racks and things up there, get this Thule Aeroblade. Depending on what racks you're putting in, you'll want to measure to see what size Aeroblade is going to work right for your situation. Mine, I went with a smaller one because of where I was placed in relation to my bike rack and things. There wasn't enough real estate for as big of one as I would have liked to have had underneath that. But I feel like having that extra air deflection in the racks and things to help reduce the amount of wind going back into all that and creating drag can definitely help with your fuel economy. And another thing that I want to point out about the Ram van is ethanol blended fuels. It seems to me that the 2.4 Multi-Tech, and this may be the same with all the other vehicles across the Jeep line and all the little Renegades and things that have this power plant, the pinging and detonation and loss of power and loss of fuel economy was massive with ethanol blended fuels. Running a non-ethanol blended fuel in my Ram van can literally be maybe 4 or 5 miles to the gallon, depending on the speeds I'm driving and the loads I'm carrying and the things I got on the roof. It's amazing. So any of you that are questioning fuel economy, start with your fuel. where are you buying your gas? If I can't get non-ethanol fuel, or the prices of it just don't make sense, or sometimes it's just too inconvenient for me to go where I get ethanol fuel, I will either go to a Chevron or Shell. It seems like their fuels, though ethanol blended, have a better quality and definitely get you a better fuel economy. Another thing that I'm going to talk about with fuel economy based on the 50,000 miles I put on this van is the octane of fuel yielder. Though this van's rated at 87 octane, anytime I'm burning a 90 to 91 octane, I'm probably getting 2 to 3 miles per gallon better. Most non-ethanol fuels tend to be high octane, but here locally I can get 87 non-octane, and it's pretty close to what I pay for premium ethanol blended fuel and get about the same fuel economy. So if you're concerned about economy, let's talk about your fuel. Where are you buying your gas? If you have a Ram ProMaster City, I'd love to know what you're getting for fuel economy too. So please comment down in the section below and let me know what you average. Overall, we're really happy with our van. Prior to this, I did have a 2014 Transit Connect. I'm almost tempted, if you guys would like me to do a video about my experiences with my Transit Connect versus my Ram ProMaster, again, comment in the section below. I'd be happy to talk about it. I definitely like the room and how it fits our needs in terms of hauling our bikes. In my previous video, which I'll put a link to here, in my previous video you'll see how it's such a great little camper van, especially if it's just Bisbee and I on a quick road trip. Perfect. Hopefully that really covers some of the things I like, and definitely a lot of the things I've disliked about my van. I really appreciate you guys clicking on those links because that helps support me and Kelly and our channel and this channel that we're building. And thanks for watching.